welcome to IGL Weekly. I'm Eric Hauser. I'm here with Sean Brown and Nicole Rodney. IGL Weekly is brought to you by Connecticut School of Broadcasting. For more information, go to www.gocsb.com or call 1-800-TV-RADIO. We are your exclusive source for the IGL and the New Jersey Bulldogs. And we have an exclusive relationship between CSB and the Bulldogs, and why don't we expand on that and how it's good for everybody?
First of all, good to see you.
Yes, nice to
It's
see you.
wonderful to be here.
Glad to talk football again.
Yep. The relationship is good. It works for everybody because the Bulldogs will get their games broadcasted live on allnoiseradio.com, powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Right.
Additionally, young, aspiring media professionals like ourselves will get the opportunity to advance our careers so everybody wins. Wouldn't you agree?
I definitely agree, and even with the players having the chance to have themselves on TV to showcase their skills and talent could, further their careers, and it's the same with us. With the media stuff, it's an amazing opportunity and a wonderful relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. These players are hoping to get called up, and what the IGL is, it's a developmental league for the league here. The Philadelphia Soul kind of came up with the idea, and they're able to pull players when they need them throughout the season. And also other AFL teams around the league can pull these players up as well.
The minor leagues are the big show.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're also going to do a New Jersey Bulldogs segment every Monday night, and you can go to the Bulldogs website for that, for the audio stream.
And another token on the league specifically for any new fans that haven't watched previously, it is a little different than the NFL. It's a shorter field. I believe it's 50 yards. Seems to be, I believe, much of a more offensive-based
yes, a lot of points.
Game. Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of points.
So
a lot
for
of
anyone
scoring.
who's new to the league.
Yeah. If you haven't seen arena football, it's a fast-paced game. It's a shorter field, like they said. A lot of points.
No punting. You go for it on fourth down.
Absolutely.
Or you kick the field goal.
Absolutely. And the field goal posts are so narrow. I don't know how
those kickers kick that.
I have no idea.
If you can kick in the AFL or the IGL, you should be able to go to the pros.
Yeah. I have no idea. But let's introduce the league a little bit to the people. We have 2 divisions of 5 teams. There's 4 new teams this year. Sean, why don't you go over the Champions Division with us?
Yeah, we got 2 new teams. We got the Freedom and the Falcons, both from Philly, and we got the defending champions. They got a bullseye on them. The Hornets,
yeah.
The Conshohocken Steelers, and also the Frankfurt Chiefs, who I believe the Bulldogs played in their first game.
Yeah, and the Steelers and the Hornets went at it in the championship game, and they're in the same division. So
that was a great game.
It's going to be a tough division this year.
Yeah, and there's also the Gladiators division, which actually 3 out of the 5 teams are new to the league this year. The 3 new teams are the New Jersey Bulldogs, the Camden Lions, and the ASI Panthers. Returning this year to the Gladiators division is the Delaware Buccaneers and the Delaware Valley Eagles. And like you said, everyone's really going to have to play hard and give their all to try to take that spot from the Hornets last year.
Absolutely, yeah. It's speaking of the Hornets, they had a close game with the Steelers last year. They were undefeated. This team could be great again. Sean, what do you think? Who can contend with them this year?
I'm not sure yet. It's early, but you got 10 teams vying for one goal, and that's basically to not only knock off the Hornets, but raise some championship hardware. So it should be interesting to see who can do that, if anybody can.
I know. We will see. But we'll be here for the next 12-week season. I believe the championship game is towards the end of July in Orlando, Florida. We'll be here all the way, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for the next 3 months. And our job is to educate and get the fans up to speed on the league, the players. We are your official source.
Absolutely, yeah. And the championship game, which is, kind of like the Super Bowl, it's going to be played in Orlando at the end of July. And also they have a kind of Pro Bowl All-Star type of game in August. What do you guys feel about that? It's a little new format.
Yeah, we got the champions versus the All-Stars. It's interesting they do it after the season. Now, what do you guys think as far as the All-Star game being played after the championship game? Do you guys like it mid-season, or do you like it at the end of the season?
I was always a fan of the mid-season. I just think after doing it after the championship game, it loses a little of its excitement just because the championship's game's over. We already have our top team, and I think some of the fans maybe fall off in a sense and aren't as excited about it as if it was in the middle of the team and we see what all those star players players do during that All-Star
So,
game.
so you think it might lose its luster a little bit?
A little bit, I do.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, though, is by playing at the end of the season after the championship game, the players won't get injured as far as playing it in season where you could lose a top player playing, obviously, in the All-Star game.
Yeah, in a game that doesn't really count for them. But in the same token, I mean, anyone can get injured in any game. That's the name of the game here. So
Yeah, and I have to say, I do like this format. I think they're doing it the right way. The Pro Bowl in the NFL used to be played after the Super
Right.
Bowl. All my favorite players were able to play in that game. Now it's, if they're in the Super Bowl, they can't play that game.
You know what's going to happen, Eric. If they play it before that championship game, they're just not going to play.
No.
So
yeah.
you got to have it at the end of the season and get the important business out of the way first.
Yeah, and I know for the fans too. I mean, after the championship game, there's one more game in the season. We want to hold on to the season as long as possible. It's something to look forward to.
And that's what's so great about this league, because after the NFL season's over, you just have football all year long leading up to the NFL season again. So for a football fan like me, it's a great thing.
right,
Yeah.
who wasn't a fan of football all year long? I know I am.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's, we have a lot of talented guys in this league. I was just quickly going down rosters of teams, and teams are, players coming out of the Big Ten, players from all over the SEC, the WAC. There's some talented players in this league.
We'll expand a little bit more on the players in upcoming episodes, but these are players that may not have been drafted into the NFL, but they are competing not only to maybe get called up to a team like the Soul, but also hopefully their ultimate goal is to perhaps get to the pros one day. So there's a lot to play for here.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And the Hornets, who are the defending champions, they had like 3 or 4 players called up last year for the Soul.
Right,
so,
good point.
It's good for these players to see that it can happen to them, and it's fun to watch them work hard. And
It is an amazing opportunity for all the players involved in the league.
absolutely, yeah. And the New Jersey Bulldogs. There's a lot of hype about this team this year, and the head coach and GM Adam Turkel, he put together a good squad. It seems on paper. But, anything can happen.
GM coach,
yes, yeah. And Lynn Servey is their assistant GM. And the buzz around the league, we were at a meet and greet the other night in Philadelphia with some of the players and coaches of the league. And, there's some good talent, and they're all excited and happy, and they all want to get to that next level.
but the big question is, can they compete with the likes of the Hornets?
That's true. The only shot, the only thing I can think of that brings the Hornets down a little bit is that they lost a few really good players last year getting called up. So
Yeah, but I don't know in their first season if they can compete with the big boys. But this is a building block season for them. They want to try to, obviously play as good as they can. But, there's some talent on that roster. Can they compete with the top dog? That remains to be seen.
absolutely, yeah. And as far as the meet and greet goes,
I heard there was some fireworks.
You weren't able to make it, but Nicole, you were there.
Oh yes, it was a very fun night. We had all the teams there. We got some great interviews with coaches and key players, and there actually was a little rivalry that broke out during our meet and greet. We'll have some of that coverage later.
Yeah, we heard the buzz about the Bulldogs, didn't we?
Yeah,
WWE style.
But I mean, it was a lot of fun and meeting everybody and the excitement for the upcoming season. It was definitely a good night, and we'll have some of that stuff to show everybody later. So that's good.
Okay, right after this, we're going to go and we'll go over the coaches of the league, and we'll see you right back here on TV 51.
Are you looking for a career in broadcasting? Does a life working in TV or radio sound right for you? Then it is time to get connected with Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn what goes on behind the scenes in a TV studio. Learn how to be a news anchor or cameraman. Talk sports on the radio and find out what goes on behind the microphone. Edit audio and video with Adobe Audition and Final Cut Pro. CSB even has a brand new campus right here in Cherry Hill. Attend one of our open house studio tours to check out the new building and meet the instructors. Stop wasting time and get connected with Connecticut School of Broadcasting. For more information, visit gocsb.com.
Welcome back to IGL Weekly, brought to you by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. As we talked about earlier, there was a meet and greet this week of the league getting together and just kind of having a little fun and meeting each other. I had a chance to interview the GM of the league, Jermaine Prince, and let's go to that interview right now. Maine, how did the IGL come together, and how is it in existence now, and what's the purpose of the league?
Well, the IGL came into existence a couple years ago from our president, Joe Kraus, and our commissioner, Henry Racich, and both of them had a great concept. What they want to do is give athletes an opportunity to continue playing football, albeit the semi-pro level, but give them an avenue to make it to the next level professionally, whether it be in pro indoor football or with the arena football or the Canadian Football League as well as the NFL.
What do you see for the future of this league, and how does this league help out these players to propel them to a next level?
Yeah, I mean, the vision of the league is great. They've been around for the last 2 years here in the Philadelphia, being backed by the Philadelphia Soul. I think that it's got a lot of promise and a lot of vision that the actual Arena Football League is looking forward to expanding to, I think, 5 teams next year for 2014, and eventually all 15, 16 teams in the arena football will have a developmental squad. That developmental league, like we do here with 10 teams, is a great opportunity for about 250 players to still showcase what they have and showcase their skills and of course, get good quality film and to stay competitive.
Right, and I also want to make it clear, I just interviewed Brian Brakowski. He didn't, he's on Cleveland, so it's not just, these guys aren't just going to the Soul. Right. They're able to, it's a league-wide type of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a league-wide. I mean, there's 16 Arena Football League teams in the IGL. Again, backed by the Philadelphia Soul. They obviously have first right of refusal with players because they can see them right here in their own backyard. But as agents and players have their own agents, they're able to market them out there to other places. The IGL is a great opportunity to continue competitive quality football, in an indoor football format.
Okay, Jermaine Prince brought up some good points in that interview.
Maine.
Yeah, his nickname is Maine, apparently. So, yeah, Maine brought up some good points. And, the first point was how this league is a stepping stone for their athletes. And, how they can go not only to the AFL, but who knows, Canada, NFL. It's a great projection point for them.
CFL, yeah.
Yeah, CFL, yeah.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
a stepping stone to hopefully what will be the National Football League one day for some of these athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And he obviously has some football background in his blood. He played NFL. So I mean, this league,
4 teams.
Yeah, this league is surrounded by people who played at high levels. So that's a good thing about this league. And, let's touch on some of the other points that he brought up.
Yeah, expansion of the league for me was a key one, Eric.
Yeah.
League growth, if you will.
Yeah.
If we think back to last year, going into this year, you've got 4 teams out, but 5 teams in. That means they've expanded by 1 team, right? Mm-hmm. So if they can expand a couple of teams each season, that's so key. Because then you eventually have a minor league system, if you will, from these teams to pull from, right?
Yes.
And that's key, kind of like how Major League Baseball does, because through the course of a season, you're going to have injuries and you're going to need players. So it would be nice for each team to have that minor league pull.
Right, yeah, and he did mention that he wants to add 5 teams next year, hopefully. So, there's a bright future for this league. And, if every team, not just the Soul, creates these leagues, then it's going to be something big. Yeah,
they might have several different minor league systems, like a Class A, B, or whatever, C. But it definitely can help. So expansion is really important and certainly gives the players an opportunity to strut their stuff. And that film is so key for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as you said about players moving up, I mean, there's even proof of players advancing. Brian Brakowski, as Maine actually mentioned in his interview, was drafted to the IGL, and he had moved up to the AFL and plays for the Cleveland Gladiators right now.
Yeah, that's it's great for players in this league, especially the new players, that actually see that and know that they're striving for something. They're not doing it for anything.
Something that's actually achievable.
Yeah, they have a chance to actually get up there.
Exactly. Right. And I believe you interviewed him
I
at the
did.
meet and greet.
We get to see that?
Yeah, I did get an interview with him the other day. Same day I interviewed Maine. And let's go to that interview right now.
Take a look.
All right. How did you end up getting drafted by the IGL, and what happens that you just made it right to the AFL from there?
Well, the IGL was a great stepping stone for me because I went to a solo open tryout and things didn't pan out there. I didn't get the news that I had wanted right away. So I attended an IGL draft, wound up being drafted #1 overall, and I saw that league as a great way to continue my football career because since that draft, I believe it was last January, I hadn't played football in 3 years. So to be able to do that and just kind of step back into football, and the IGL presented me with that opportunity, it was a blessing. But actually, I just continued to bother and badger Soul Scouts and coaches to the point where they figured, you know what, let's give this guy a shot in training camp. And I got that opportunity and took advantage of it last season. So.
Okay, so players can look at you and think that, this IGL is a good thing for the players to be able to move up to the next level.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely a developmental league. It's a place where there's good coaches, there's great administration. It's a great system. They're very close to the soul. Obviously, sitting in here in front of a camera, I can't tell you how many other arena teams in the league have leagues like this to help build player skill level. Actually, I can. The answer would be none. So this is it's a tremendous opportunity for the guys in this area. The guys on teams. This league is, it's the first of its kind, really, and it's great for the players that want to continue a football career after college. So.
Okay, that was Brian Brakowski, and that was a great interview by him, and he's a great example in this league of what these players should be striving for.
Yeah, Brakowski is interesting to me, and I'll tell you why. He said it all. That tryout he had with the Soul didn't go very well, did it?
No.
And maybe if it wasn't for the IGL, he'd be out of football right now.
Yeah, he would.
So it gave him an opportunity to play again and show his stuff. Now he's playing for the Cleveland Gladiators.
Right. He had his tryout with the Soul. It didn't go well. Luckily, the IGL was there. He got drafted #1 in the IGL. And then he didn't even get to the first game when he got pulled up for a Cleveland squad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And to be honest with you, man, it's going to give him an opportunity to maybe advance further, too, in his career.
Absolutely.
Right now he's playing for the Gladiators. He hopes to be playing for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, he did say that he's, going to NFL tryouts. So, that's what all these guys
maybe
would
he'll
love
be
to
an
do.
outside linebacker in that 3-4 base defense.
That would be nice. But, I mean, what a great model for these other guys. Yeah.
It really is a great story, and, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he was a really nice guy, too, so that was good to see.
Yeah, he gave himself a nice little introduction there at the beginning, too.
He did. He did, yeah. And Brakowski plays for the Cleveland Gladiators, who did play the Philadelphia Soul last week, and his team ended up beating them at the end.
Yeah, that was a tough loss.
Yeah.
That was a tough loss for the Soul. 14-point lead at the half. They possessed the ball first to start the second half. Thought they had it in the bag, but it kind of slipped away from them a little bit. Tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, they did dominate. The Soul dominated almost the whole game. They let Cleveland back in the game towards the end there. The final score was 64-57, so it was a good game.
But there is some good news. There is some good news. Tiger Jones for the Soul, looking like one of the best receivers in all the AFL right now. Very fast. Had 3 touchdowns in the game.
Yeah. Over
143 yards. So definitely good news there on that front.
And he almost caught the game-winning touchdown at the end there. He's definitely a top 5 receiver. Okay, when we come right back, we'll be talking about the Bulldogs, New Jersey Bulldogs, and we're going to have a special guest, Greg Harkins, coming in here to go over the meet and greet with us. We'll see you right back here on TV 51. Welcome back to IGL Weekly. We're here with a special guest, Greg Harkins. Nice to meet you, Greg. He is a CSB student, and he was also with us at the meet and greet the other night. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what we saw at the event.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys. My name's Greg, and I'm a present student at CSB right now. Just entered the March Day program, and I'm going to be graduating in about 4 weeks.
Nice.
And along comes this great opportunity to work with the IGL and the New Jersey Bulldogs. And so I had to jump all over it as a sports fan. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, we had the meet and greet, and I know, Sean, you weren't able to attend, and some of the people at home weren't able to attend. But what a cool event! What a neat time! What a great opportunity to get all these world-class athletes in one room at one time from all over the league, all the different teams, GMs, coaches, players, and kind of speak candidly with them, kind of get some off-the-cuff reactions, and have some interviews. I know, Eric, you had some great interviews with these guys.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this was something that a week ago I never even envisioned I would be doing as a student.
Great
And,
opportunity.
oh, absolutely, yeah. It couldn't ask for anything better, especially as a sports fan, to get that peek behind the curtain a little bit.
Right, absolutely. And, as you brought up, I interviewed a lot of the coaches, players, owners.
Who's your favorite interview?
Oh, man, there's some characters out there, but it was probably the offensive line for the New Jersey Bulldogs. I had to interview 4 guys at one time, and they're characters.
That's a lot of beef, too. They're pretty big.
A lot of beef, yeah, and they are characters. But it was nice to be able to kind of get to know some of these guys around the league. Yeah. What else can you tell us a little bit about that night? I mean, it got interesting at some point.
I heard there was a little bit of a scuffle.
Yes, a brouhaha, if you will. I wanted to say what a professional decorum everybody had through most of the night. You see these guys, and they have every reason to have big swollen egos and giant heads, and I really didn't feel that way for most of the event.
Right.
And then as the event started to tick down a little bit in time, and towards the end of the night, and I won't speculate. I don't know if there was any adult beverages that took a factor into this, but the ego started to come out a little bit, and you can feel that rivalry between all these teams.
Yeah.
Do you get the feeling that there may be a local rivalry brewing, perhaps between the Hornets and the Lions?
Yeah, I think there's rivalry all around. I mean,
Yeah.
These are not teams they're not going to lay down. When you talk about smash mouth football, these guys seem aggressive. They seem like they really are looking to get at it. But teams in particular that I felt really were in each other's faces and really looking and raring to play some smash mouth football has to be the New Jersey Bulldogs and the Camden Lions. I think you've got the New Jersey Bulldogs doing their bulldog bark all throughout the bar,
Right.
and everybody's starting to swell their chest up a little bit. And the Camden Lions, they didn't take too well to that. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
Yeah.
And, that was when I was working on camera. I decided to get in there, see what was going on, and there was some heated discussion.
Did it get physical at any point?
No, it didn't get physical. Like I said, the decorum was still professional. But
Just a lot of talking. I mean, it reminded me of like a heavyweight fight, like weigh-in. How those guys will, talk their trash and go nose to nose, and that's pretty much what it was.
yeah, that's a great way to describe it. And it was as much show as it was being genuine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I saw the video though. I gotta tell you, I think it was a little overhyped. To be honest with you, just
Yeah.
personally, I think it was a little overhyped.
Yeah.
Well, no,
yeah.
I think you really see the passion in between these teams, and you have to mention the Philadelphia Hornets too. They look like a hungry team.
Yeah.
They look like they're going to bring it this year too, and I really like the New Jersey Bulldogs this year. They're big and they're physical and they're fast, but
Yeah.
I think everybody knows that they're kind of this new team on the block that they should be worried about. The defending champs should be worried about them week in, week out. Everybody should
Do you
be
get
worried
the
about them.
impression? Let me ask you if you get the impression that because it's their inaugural season, that will they be able to be a contender in their first season, especially against a team like the Hornets?
Yeah, I think so. It's not like these guys are brand new to football. They've obviously got all their experience in place to be at this level at this point. But yeah, I see no reason that they're not going to be able to compete, and especially when you meet them and you talk to them. They've got the hunger, they've got the passion, they've got the drive, and they've also got the physicality. I mean, would you disagree with me, Eric? Were they
No.
the biggest guys there? The Bulldogs?
They're absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question though, besides the swag, do they have the skill set to be able to compete with the best?
I would say yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you brought up the whatever we want to call that happened the other night. A lot of it was between it's kind of like a local rivalry because the Bulldogs and the Camden Lions, they practice pretty close to each other, like 20 minutes away. So of course, and they're new teams.
Right.
So they're new teams. They want to make themselves known. Also, you could tell that there's a buzz about this Bulldog squad.
Right.
Because, they're a brand new team, and it seems like everybody was worried about them and wanted to talk trash to them.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about a rivalry is if it's close, right?
Right.
You want to be able to have the family divided, have the mothers and the children on different squads, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah. And speaking of the Bulldogs, their coach Adam Turkel, he put together this great squad.
Coach GM.
Yeah, coach and GM. Yeah. He put together a good squad. And these players, they're talented. I get to see them in practice once in a while. The defense really came together first, I think, and they look pretty good. And the offense is now starting to gel, and they've got some big boys on that offensive line. And, it's I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd feel pretty comfortable with the Bulldogs being in Orlando come the end of the year.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and it was a good event. It was real nice to see everyone come together. Joe Kraus, who this is kind of his baby, he kind of is the commissioner of the league.
It was his concept.
Got to meet him. He does some work with the Soul. And he does some of their marketing. And yeah, it was good to see this come together. And don't you get a feel for that there's a future for this league?
Absolutely. I would actually like to ask you guys, there was such a good turnout and such a good buzz in the room, even from people who didn't necessarily know they were attending a meet and greet. It did take place in a bar, and the random passerby seemed to be pretty interested. What kind of crowds do you guys think they're going to draw here?
That's an interesting question.
Well, I mean, the Bulldogs, for example, they're playing 6 out of their 10 regular season games in the Wells Fargo Center, I believe.
Yeah.
So, anytime there's an event in the Wells Fargo Center, I think it's going to draw more people. And usually the Soul might play that night right after the game.
You get 2 for the price of 1,
Absolutely. Too. So, yeah, I think the crowds are going to be pretty good.
Family-friendly crowds for affordable entertainment.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just to touch a little bit about the Bulldogs, a couple players to look forward to seeing this year. Their quarterback, Jeremy Bartuk, he has some NFL, well, not NFL, but Europe experience, and he played for the New Jersey Extreme, which is a semi-pro league, and he had a few other teammates from the Extreme play in this for the Bulldogs this year. Their O-line, we talked about the beef. They have Kareem Wright. He's a big boy. He's 6'10", 420.
Yeah.
Imagine going against him.
Yeah, that's a big boy right there.
6'10", 420. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He played football and basketball for Rutgers. He played for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Wow.
I mean, 6'10", 420. This guy played basketball for the Harlem Globetrotters, and he also was on the Los Angeles Lakers squad for a little bit. So,
2-sport athlete.
He's an athletic guy if he can do that.
That's quite the resume.
Yeah, and real quick, Demetrius Hester, he's a defensive lineman, played for Delaware.
Yep.
Listen to this as athletics. He turned down a full ride to Ohio State for wrestling to go to Delaware and play football, which is his love.
I thought you were going to tell me Vince McMahon was recruiting him.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be a beast. He's going to be something to reckon with this year. Also, Marquise Slocum played for Michigan, Big Ten. So, just a couple players to get used to this year and
some
to look
talented
forward
guys
to.
there. Some talented guys. They may have not been drafted pro yet, but some talented guys that played at some good programs.
Absolutely, yep. Okay, that'll wrap it up for this week of IGL Weekly. I want to thank my special guests, Sean, Greg, and Nicole. We'll see you guys back here next week on TV 51.